What is the heart of a great shonen battle? Is it the characters, the story, the animation? While all those are crucial, there's one element that acts as the engine for everything else: the power system. It's the set of rules that dictates the logic of every conflict, the ceiling of every character's potential, and the source of all spectacle. For decades, we've been blessed with iconic systems. The elemental versatility of chakra in Naruto, the profound complexity of Nen in Hunter x Hunter, the sheer creative chaos of stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. These are the titans, the benchmarks against which all others are measured. But a new king has emerged from the shadows, a system so elegantly designed, so narratively potent, that it has forced the entire community to sit up and take notice. We are talking, of course, about the world of cursed energy in Jujutsu Kaisen. Today, we are not just going to explain how cursed energy works. We are going to dissect it. We will explore the fundamental rules that make it not just good, but a genuine masterpiece of modern shonen. We will prove that Gege Akutami didn't just create a power system. They created a perfect storytelling tool. Let's start with the foundation. On the surface, Jujutsu sorcery is built on a simple holy trinity. This is what every new sorcerer learns, and it's what makes the system so immediately accessible. First, you have cursed energy. This is the fuel. It's the raw power born from the negative emotions of all living humans. But here's the first stroke of genius. It's not a neutral force. To use it, you must yourself harness negative emotions. This creates an immediate internal conflict. To protect others, you must wallow in the very negativity that creates the monsters you fight. It's a psychological trap, a constant moral tightrope that sorcerers must walk. This isn't a clean, renewable resource. It's a toxic, double-edged sword. This fuel is then channeled through a cursed technique. This is the unique ability, the specific application. It can be inherited, like the Gojo clan's Limitless, or it can be a singular mutation, like Todo's Boogie Woogie. These techniques are often bizarre and highly specific, feeling almost like stands from JoJo. But unlike JoJo, they are all powered by the same universal fuel, cursed energy. This gives them a cohesive framework. And finally, the ultimate expression of a sorcerer's understanding: the domain expansion. This is the pinnacle. By creating a barrier and imbuing it with their innate domain, their very soul, a sorcerer creates a pocket reality where their technique is guaranteed to hit. It's a checkmate move. But its requirement of immense skill, energy, and a refined, cursed technique means it's not a tool for everyone. It's a goal, a status symbol, and a narrative climax all rolled into one. But Akutami doesn't stop there. They introduce innate, unchangeable factors that create a natural and believable power disparity. The 6 eyes of Satoru Gojo isn't a technique he learned. It's a genetic lottery win that makes him impossibly efficient. On the flip side, heavenly restriction is a brutal bargain. Sacrifice one thing to gain another. Maki Zenin sacrificed all her cursed energy for a superhuman body, while Mekamaru sacrificed his body for immense energy and range. These aren't power-ups. They are fundamental, often tragic, parts of a character's identity. They explain why the power hierarchy in Jujutsu Kaisen feels so rigid and organic from the very start. Now we arrive at the true heart of the system's genius, the mechanics that transform it from a simple rock-paper-scissors game into a deep, strategic battlefield. This is where Jujutsu Kaisen separates itself from the pack. Let's talk about the single greatest innovation: binding vows. A binding vow is a contract, a self-imposed restriction that, in exchange for a limitation, grants a massive power boost. This is the law of equivalent exchange baked directly into the magic system, and its applications are breathtakingly clever. Consider the most common one: revealing one's hand. In most shonen, when a villain explains their power, it's a stupid plot contrivance. In Jujutsu Kaisen, it's a calculated strategic decision. By verbally explaining the intricacies of your technique to your opponent, you make a binding vow with the world itself, receiving a significant amp in your technique's power or efficiency in return. Akutami took a tired trope and turned it into a brilliant in-universe rule. Look at Yuta Okatsu in the prequel. His immense power was initially locked behind a binding vow. He had to grant Rika's final wish to free her, which placed a time limit on his own strength. This created immense narrative tension, or consider Kento Nanami's overtime vow. By announcing he was working after hours, he received a boost in his cursed energy output. This seamlessly integrates a character's personal struggle with his corporate life into his combat style. Binding vows are the great equalizer. They mean that a seemingly weaker opponent can, through cleverness, sacrifice, and a deep understanding of the rules, overcome a more powerful foe. It's not about who has the bigger energy reserve. It's about who can outthink their opponent within the framework of the system. This strategic depth is further amplified by the ultimate technique, the domain expansion. But domains aren't just win buttons. The system introduces layers of counterplay. A skilled barrier technician can use simple domain or falling blossom emotion to survive a domain's guaranteed hit. We even see domain clashes where two domains are activated simultaneously, the stronger one overpowering the weaker based on the refinement of the barrier and the user's skill. This creates a complex rock-paper-scissors dynamic. Raw power can be countered by a clever binding vow. A domain expansion can be neutralized by a domain clash or a specific anti-domain technique. There is no single path to victory. Every battle becomes a high-stakes puzzle, and it is this relentless focus on strategy that makes every fight in Jujutsu Kaisen so incredibly compelling to watch. A power system is only as good as the characters who use it. So let's put theory into practice and see how these rules shape the fighters of Jujutsu Kaisen. First, Yuji Itadori. Our protagonist is a fascinating case. He has no innate curse technique, none. In another series, he'd be the underdog who has to get creative. Here, his strength comes from a foundation of a monstrously powerful body, enhanced by a heavenly restriction and a colossal pool of raw, cursed energy. He is a physical brawler in a world of esoteric magicians. He proves that the system has room for pure, unadulterated force, and his growth is measured not by learning new tricks, but by refining his control over that force and learning to coexist with Sukuna. Then we have Megumi Fushiguro, the tactician. His 10 Shadows technique seems straightforward. Summon Shikigami. But its potential is staggering. It's a system within a system. He must strategically choose which Shikigami to use, manage their destruction and fusion, and even master the ultimate risk, the untamed Mahoraga. His journey to a flawed domain expansion shows the grueling process of mastering one's own soul. Megumi's battles are never about overpowering. They are about outmaneuvering, and of course Satoru Gojo. He is the exception that proves the rule. Gojo is so powerful he breaks the story, and the system has a perfect, logical explanation for why. The Six Eyes give him near-infinite cursed energy efficiency and microscopic perception. His innate technique, Limitless, allows him to manipulate space at an atomic level. These two factors create a perfect, self-sustaining cycle. He doesn't break the system. He is the ultimate logical endpoint of it. He is a natural disaster given human form, and the rules of Jujutsu make us understand exactly why he is untouchable. Finally, the system even has a historical dimension. The contrast between modern sorcery, which is more refined and efficient, and the raw, ritualistic, and often more powerful techniques of the Heian era, exemplified by Sukuna, adds a layer of world-building depth. It shows that the system itself has evolved, that knowledge has been lost, and that the past holds secrets that modern sorcerers can barely comprehend. So, how does cursed energy stack up against the legendary systems that came before it? Let's make the comparison. Compared to Nen from Hunter x Hunter, often considered the peak of shonen power systems, JJK's system is more streamlined. Nen is infamous for its overwhelming complexity with its 6 types, Hatsus, vows, and limitations. JJK learns from Nen's strategic depth, especially from the concept of vows and limitations, but presents it in a more immediately intuitive package. It captures the spirit of Nen's strategic combat without requiring a 50-page manual to understand. Compared to stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which are the pinnacle of pure, unbridled creativity, JJK finds a middle ground. Stands have very few hard rules. Their power is limited only by the user's imagination. JJK offers that same level of unique, bizarre abilities, like projection sorcery or boogie-woogie, but grounds them all in the consistent framework of cursed energy, domains, and binding vows. It provides the creativity of stands with the strategic structure of nen. This leads to what the fandom sometimes calls Gega's fridge logic. The rules are so consistent and well-established that you can often predict outcomes or understand new abilities after the fact. When you learn a new rule, like the true nature of domain amplification or hollow wicker basket, previous battles suddenly make more sense. It's a system that rewards you for paying attention, for thinking along with the characters. It makes you feel smart. So, let's bring it all home. Why is the Jujutsu Kaisen power system a modern masterpiece? First, it's intuitively deep. It's easy for a newcomer to understand the basics of cursed energy and techniques. But the layers of binding vows, domain mechanics, and innate restrictions provide a bottomless well of strategic complexity. Second, and most importantly, it is a narrative engine. It is not separate from the story, it drives the story. A character's emotional state directly fuels their power. A character's background and choices are reflected in heavenly restrictions and binding vows. The power system is inextricably linked to character development and plot progression. Third, it rewards intelligence over brute force. While raw power exists, victory is consistently determined by tactical thinking, creativity, and a willingness to make sacrifices. It makes every fight an unpredictable spectacle of wits. And finally, it feels alive. It has a history. It has consistent rules that can be cleverly manipulated. And it continues to evolve and reveal new facets as the story progresses. In the pantheon of shonen power systems, Geijakutami hasn't just added another entry. They have crafted a system that stands shoulder to shoulder with the gods, a perfect synthesis of creativity, consistency, and narrative purpose. And that is the definition of a masterpiece. But this is just our analysis. The world of Jujutsu is vast. What do you think? Is cursed energy the best modern power system? Which of our case studies did you find the most compelling? And what other series, like Chainsaw Man with its devil contracts or My Hero Academia with its quirks, do you think deserve a deep dive? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of Jujutsu, if you want to see us break down more anime, manga, and their hidden lore, then do us a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video. The world of content is a cursed spirit, and we're here to be your exorcists. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.